Good morning. So, on this spiritual awakening path, it seems like I've gotten to a place of like this inner stillness. I still have a little bit of the glitches where I'm glitching back into the old way of thinking, or the as we're rising on this spiritual awakening, and as we're overcoming ourselves, as we're coming into ourselves, and as we're releasing things that we're stuck on, releasing old habits of thinking, releasing. Um, it's like a letting go and allowing ourselves to flow into our natural selves. There's a story I want to tell, um, but I want to finish this point. So as we're like rising and as we're letting go, we have we get to a point, and then we have glitches, and these glitches are places that we fall is the word that is coming to mind, but where we slip back into old patterns of thinking, or where something comes up that isn't completely resolved, or something, as we're going through the spiritual awakening, we're changing patterns of thought within our minds as well, physically. We're disconnecting neurons that fire together, automatic ways of thinking, and we're creating new paths and new ways of thinking. And actually, the way that I see it in my own mind is that I'm opening up all the different paths, so all options are open. That way, my mind is completely flexible to go in any direction. That means that all of the neurons are available for use. And this is something that I've been working on also consciously within my meditation for the last few years, is to where when I go deep into meditation, when after, when I'm ready to come out of meditation, I go into my mind, and I feel like lighting up the different lobes. And I can actually imagine the different lobes in my mind, the different brain lobes lighting up. I go from this side, and then I move the energy over to this side. And I feel like I'm actually like lightening it up, almost like I'm bringing electricity or bringing attention to it. And it's really strange, because there's places in my mind like this lobe back here, and I've been meaning to look and see what is in this lobe back here. But you can feel the different places in your mind that still have like gray areas that you don't have access to. And really, what I'm trying to do is get to the that little center of my mind where it's called in Hebrew, and it's Duality, where the pineal gland, I think it's called the pineal gland. I'm trying to access the pineal gland, and I do feel like sometimes I can feel in my mind like click, 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 like things are breaking down, or some kind of like clicking. Um, but what I'm really trying to do is open up my entire mind, and I feel that it works. I feel like it really is working, and it's really allowing me to be more flexible and to let things go, because I realize on the spiritual awakening, it's all about letting go. It's all about not getting stuck. The soul, at the soul level, is pure consciousness. It is just an experiencer. It doesn't gather information. Your soul, at your soul level, is just going through life in complete flow. What allows us to have a life experience and to gather information is this container that we have, our body, our ego, our mind. We have this storage unit within our ego that, look, she's so cute. She cleans his ears. He brings his ears over to her to clean. That also, that behind me, take a look. It is like, oh, how am I going to get this to where you can see it, because the light is shining? Well, anyway, and there's a cave back there. See, it's a nice little spot I got. On the other side is that pillar. That's what I'm facing now as I'm talking. It looks like an old grumpy man on the pillar. So I love this valley. This valley, I feel like, has this is Nakhlamud. It's in the Galilee. It leads down to the Sea of Galilee. In the winter, it has water flowing through here that comes from underground rivers that fill up, and they come down and wash through here. In the summer, it dries. Um, but there's something really healing about this land. You come into a canyon, and you are like in a womb almost. There is, it cuts out, first of all, your phone, like when you get deep into the valley, the phone, you don't have service. And so you're cut off from outside, and it's like you're in the ground, and you're getting like Mother Nature's vibes, and everything is so still and quiet. This morning there's been fighter jets going over all morning, but it sounds like they moved because I think that they go to different places and do rounds for a certain amount of time, and then they move to somewhere else and do rounds. But they're constantly in the air. It's like constant presence. Um, so what I really feel like in this spiritual awakening is that it's all about letting go. It's all about letting go and allowing things to flow through you, flow through your experience, flow through your existence, and then you can take what you want. But if we get caught on things, also substance, like physical things too, they weigh us down. Anything, thoughts that we think that we have to, judgments, or we have to have judgments in order to even experience life. Walking up the side of this mountain, see, I'm sitting way up here. Walking up the side of this mountain, I have to use my previous experience and my judgment on where to walk. We are always judging, so it's not right to say take judgment out of your life, but it is right to say, use judgment, but also allow for new things to come in and allow for change. That's what makes this life experience so rich, is if we are allowing different thoughts to come in, different things, do different things, and experience different things. Allow yourself to explore, ideas. Our whole life experience is in our mind. So it's exploring your mind. It's exploring, do I like this? Do I like that? That allowing thoughts to come, allowing other people's perspectives in. It doesn't mean that you have to agree with them or take them, but it's also interesting just to see what other people think and where other people are, and you can get reflections back to yourself of, like, you can see how other people's are how other people are experiencing this life, and you can see where they're stuck, or you can see, and then you can see patterns in other people, and then you can look inward and see if you have those same patterns, because these patterns are archetypes. They are like, structures of behavior that are embedded in your ego, and they come from the ethers. And so we all have these archetypes within us. But once you realize the archetypes, then you can take control over them, and you can really enhance your life. It's like taking power over your ego. Um, and during the spiritual awakening, it's all about figuring all that out, and coming into soul level and letting things go, and allowing yourself to be. It's really just to be. So the story that I wanted to tell really happened here in this valley. um, a few years ago, I came here, and I met right under the pillar. I met a mother and daughter, and the daughter was kind of depressed. Yeah, I could tell. And we had a conversation. I was talking to the mother for most of the time, and we were having like a really deep, meaningful conversation. And at some point, the daughter came closer, and and since then, about a year ago, I heard that she had committed suicide. So she was going through herself, and she was in this depression. And she said to me, I thought that I had found my purpose. I thought that I had found my destiny, what I was meant to be doing. And now I'm not so sure. And I asked her, well, what was that? And she said, and I might have told this story before, but I feel like sharing it. And she said that she was doing ayahuasca circles, that she was doing ayahuasca circles. And the first thing is, I was thinking, wow, if you got to a point where you are able to, because in order to do ayahuasca circles, you have to be very spiritual and be able to hold other people up. It's like being a spiritual leader. And I was, and I saw how she was in such a state She was, and I had been in deep depression before that. I know how it feels and what it entails, and the depths of it, and the emptiness of it, and the darkness of it, where you don't see the light. It's like there's no light getting in. You go into yourself so far deep down that you're in this space of complete emptiness. It's like at some point during deep depression, before you start coming out, you get into a place of complete, where there isn't even darkness anymore. It's just a void. There's no happiness, there's no darkness, there's nothing. It's like you're in this just space, and there is no substance in that place. And I could see that she was deep in darkness. And what came out of me, you know, sometimes the messages come through me for other people, but as they come through me, it's something that I also get to realize within myself. You know, it's like the message comes through me. If I, and I can explain this, if I hadn't been having that conversation, that thought would have never come to me. And so it's basically getting a message for somebody else, or giving somebody else a message, but getting the message in myself at the same time. And that's how stimulation works. Like if we go out in the world and we get stimulated, every conversation that we have with somebody brings us closer to, brings us, if we're, if it's not empty conversation, if we're not just going out to fill some kind of void or something, if we're having meaningful conversation, it's also teaching us something in the process. And that's part of also learning how to lead a meaningful life. And what came to me to tell her was that how could your destiny be in something that is of the physical world? You see, it can't be a job, or just something that you do, because we are in constant progression. We are in constant expansion. Each and every one of us, every day we learn something new. So our destiny has to be something that moves with us and that expands with us, and that is an allowance. There can be things that we do along the way, productive things and life experiences. And, mm, I worked for years as a waitress. It doesn't have to be anything that is, I'm not saying it has to be anything grand. We do have to experience life and do things, especially in the way that the world is set up nowadays. We're not in tribes anymore, where each person is automatically put into the place where, um, where their natural place. So so we do have to go out and do things and experience things, and that's also how we sift through life and find the true meaning in life, because we have to make some kind of movement within our life. We have to create movement so that we have what to work with. Even we can't just sit on the couch and expect everything to come to us. That, we have to be out and experiencing and meeting and doing things, and realizing things. Stimulation. We have to be stimulating ourselves in order to experience growth within ourselves. And so the thought that came to me was, I was telling her that, well, your destiny can't be in just a job or something that you do. It can't be something that's in the physical world, because you are in constant expansion. So your destiny has to be something that is expanding with you, that allows for growth. And after we continued talking, but afterwards I continued on, and there was water coming through the valley at that point, and I was walking in the stream. I kind of skipping on the stones. I like to do that, to see how far I can go, just skipping on stones. And um, and it was just beautiful. And I remember thinking, wow, everything that is in this earth is running through my veins. Everything that, the water and the plants and the vegetation, the animals, and everything that, all of the life that is in the valley, it is the same thing that is flowing through me. That everything that my body is made up of is in this substance that I'm walking on. I am a part of everything. And it hit me like I had this really strong like download, or knowing that first of all, I belong. I am as ancient as the land. I come from this land. I am one unique makeup of what this land can be, of what this land can make up. One unique being. and the only one that has ever been like me, the only one that has ever had this exact makeup of of DNA and substance and all of the unique upbringing that I had and everything that was said to me over all of the years and in my childhood that formed this being who I am. I am an expression of the universe, just like each dog is, just like each plant is. It's the one unique, only one of its kind. And when you watch nature, you see that everything is just is. There is no, the tree's not worried about what it looks like or plastic surgery or, trying to make itself different than it is. It knows it doesn't have, it doesn't even have the consciousness of, well, maybe it does, but it just is. And I was, and we are dual. So we have this physical body, but we also have this life force that's flowing through us. And the force is this energy that's flowing through us, and our personality is in a unique personality. I'm the only one. And I was thinking to myself, wow, so your destiny is to just be the purest form of expression that you can be of this God given force. It's like if you're embarrassed of who you are, or thinking that you're anything but perfect, it's like spitting in the well that you came from. It's like telling God that God made a mistake. And then I went through like this 2 week period that I was just in like euphoria. My destiny is to be the purest expression of this that I can be. Clear myself of all the embarrassment and clear myself. And it doesn't mean go out and push myself on people. It just means be in pure expression, just like a flower that is, blossoming. It's an expression. And just because through my being a pure expression of myself, I'm expressing what the universe can make up, the perfectness of the universe. Look at me. I'm an expression of God. I'm an expression of the divine. I'm an expression of the universe. I am one unique makeup. Look at this. And then it's like, and then you start looking at, well, wow, I have all these talents and I have all these interesting things to say and I have this personality, and I'm the only one that has this personality. If I don't express the personality, who's going to express it? Nobody's going to come in and say, okay, express this part of your personality and that part of your personality. I'm this full, round, complete being with this personality, and the only one that looks exactly like this. So, I was thinking about, even, I feel like I lucked out with myself, but I think that anybody lucked out with themselves. Even, it doesn't matter what you look like. You are unique. You're like this unique being. This is what you look like. This is like, show it off. Look at this. I got this body to come here and have this experience. And, you know, it's like being proud of what you are. So I walked around like 2 weeks and like this, wow, my destiny is to clean all the crap off of whatever I was taught in school and whatever I was taught to, this is acceptable, this isn't acceptable, and this isn't, and just be a full expression of my natural self. And there is no embarrassment. We're all humans. We all have we all have the same archetypes running through us. We all have to go to the bathroom. We all have the same functions. We all have, especially in the modern world, we all have questions that we ask ourselves. We all have questions things that we wonder about, things that it's everything is relevant, and everything has a place in the world, and everybody has a place in the world, and everybody has their own unique way of expressing the universe through them. And so I realized that my destiny is just to be the purest form of myself that I can be. And a way to do this, really, just an add-on, the tools that I've found within myself, is start doing things that I enjoy more. The more things that I can put into my being, and also we're kind of trained into if you're not making money at it, it's not worth it. If you're not making money at it, don't do it, or something like that. If it's not something that makes money, it's of no value. Like money is the only value, but that's not true. And when you start training yourself out of that, you start seeing that the more things that you put into your life that you enjoy, first of all, you're getting closer back to your core self, and one thing leads to another. It's like it's like steps that you take. So you start doing one thing that you enjoy, and you start having that feeling of enjoyment, and it starts leading you to more and more things, and it starts opening more and more doors for you. And before you know it, you are living a fulfilled life. And so it's really about baby steps and gradually opening the door and gradually allowing yourself. And as you start doing things that you enjoy more, a lot of times you'll start feeling guilt. Like, why am I, how am I allowing myself to do this? I need to be off making money or taking care of my obligations or my responsibilities. But you start seeing that you also have responsibility for yourself, and this whole life is just an experience. And if you don't take advantage of this lifetime while you're living it, there isn't going to be a lifetime afterwards. Maybe you'll come in a different experience, but you'll come in with a different consciousness and a different experience and a different being altogether. This life experience is this life experience. And so when I realized that, I was like, for 2 weeks, I'm walking around like, oh, I'm an expression. I'm an expression. After about 2 weeks of this, in total euphoria and like, yeah, I need to purify myself and allow myself to, it's also a change in like, in a way of thought, allow myself to be an expression, not force myself on anybody, not make anybody, nobody, everybody is their own, their own being. They don't have to understand but for me to be an expression. And what I find, another thing of what I find about that is the more that I'm in my natural expression, the more I allow myself to be an expression, the more people accept me for who I am, because the more authentic I become. And most people want to be authentic in themselves. Most people want to, it's refreshing when you meet somebody that is just authentic and just themselves and not afraid to show who they are and not afraid to express themselves. And it's inspiring. And and what I also learned is that you get to tell the world who you are, and the world accepts it. If I'm putting on a face, and that's how I'm presenting myself to the world accepts it. If the it's the easiest and the most difficult, but it's the easiest thing just to be yourself. You don't Because if you're trying to put on a face, you're trying to put on a face that is not really you. Way of society, the way that society thinks I need to be. When it's not really you, you don't really even know how to do it. And so you're putting on this face, and you're always in question. Am I right? Am I not right? Am I doing this right? Am I acceptable? Are people looking at me correct? When you just let all that go and you just be yourself, there is no it is right. You're just yourself. You always have the answers. You always have the answers, because you're just honest. So if somebody asks you something, even if the answer is, I don't know right now, I want to think on that, or the answer is opposite of what is acceptable, or it doesn't matter. When you're true to yourself and you're authentic, then you always have the answer. It doesn't matter. It doesn't, and the world will accept it from you when you're honest and you're straightforward, and you just say it like you see it. Even, but that also comes back to being flexible, because you're open to new ideas coming in. So I am always like, prove me wrong. If I'm saying something and there's a different way of looking at it, show me. I want to expand my experience. I don't want to get stuck in ways of thinking that are, and then it's kind of like training your ego and allowing your ego to be wrong, allowing your ego to be corrected. There's so many of us that go through life that don't want to be corrected. They fight for their opinions, fight to be right, fight to be right. Anybody that comes up with an opinion that opposes their opinion is like, no, 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 no. They won't even listen to it. Fighting like, but I feel like I really want to hear other people's opinions, because I want to correct myself, and 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 it doesn't threaten me in any way, because if they're right, then I'm willing to look at their opinion and adopt part of it. Or if they're not right, I don't have to take their opinion. So nothing threatens my way of being. And when you're always wanting to correct yourself and wanting to expand and wanting to better yourself, then nothing really threatens your existence because, somebody coming in and saying something that is completely opposite of what I think, okay, as long as I'm strong in my own thoughts and I know what I believe and I am confident in my ability to think something out and to either accept it or not to accept it, anybody else's thoughts that they bring in, anybody else's belief system that they bring in doesn't have to threaten me. The only time that it threatens me is when my belief system is weak. When I want to believe what I believe and I want to be stuck on it and I want to be right, which is the ego. I want to be right. I'm right. Look at me. Look at me. I'm right. Look at me. I'm worth something. I know a lot of things. And then you get stuck. That's the same attachment thing. You get stuck on your own beliefs. And so back to my story. So these 2 weeks I was walking around in this complete euphoria, like, look at this, I'm an expression. After about 2 weeks of this, I was sitting in my backyard and I was thinking I was like imagining in my mind everybody in the world being a true expression of themselves and how wonderful that is. And I was thinking to myself, well, it's kind of like the forest falling in the tree falling in the forest. If there's nobody there to see it, is it really happening? And then I started thinking, well, we're not only expressions, we're also witnesses to other people's expressions. And then I realized the duality of it. So if I'm just an expression, there's nobody there to witness my expression. What does it mean? It falls on deaf ears. There's no meaning to it. But if I am an expression and I allow other people to see my expression, and other people are expressions and witnesses as well, then it's perfect because it's like the spiral that feeds itself, right? It's constant expansion. I'm an expression. I'm an expression. Somebody else is viewing my expression. If their belief system is flexible, like I was just talking about, flexible and they're strong in themselves and they are being their true selves, then they are not threatened by my expression, more like they're interested in my expression. And then my expression could add on to theirs. It's like an intake output, or like a flow, like the universe flows through you. So I meet these other people and their experience flows through me and then it alters my experience. So see, we're like these sponges, right? So everything is relevant. Every person that you meet has a value to add to your experience. So you're constantly in change, you're in constant movement, your being is constantly expanding, and which just becomes perfect because it's like educating yourself. You meet somebody and you intake and then you output, you add things onto your own expression, and it adds value to your life. You're constantly expanding, you're constantly in growth, you're constantly. And so then when you meet other expressions that you have this dance with, then it's like going into a spiral. You start spiraling upwards, and it's kind of like this collective consciousness now that we're kind of all coming together. Into the new world that I keep talking about. The new world is just coming into this dimension, and we're feeding off of each other. It's like it's like we are seeing each other, receiving and reflecting back, receiving and reflecting back. But as we're doing this, we're like a spiral that is going upwards. We're like a collective consciousness that is we're all rising together because we're all connected, which is really funny because in this last few weeks of my spiritual awakening has been really, it's almost like the most lonely time I feel a lot of times like I'm lonely, but at the same time I feel like I'm connected to everybody and to everything. I feel more of a connection to everything, but I also really have been going inward, and I spend a lot of time by myself and by choice, really, because I almost feel like the people that are in my lives are falling out for some. Like it's like I'm not interested. I'm going inward. But at the same time, I'm being in expression of what is going on with the inner world. Um, But that is a complete different video, and I still feel like I'm still in the processing of it. I'm still in it. So I still don't have that vantage point of coming out of it and looking in and being able to bring it into complete words yet. So really, our destiny. So this is where this video has been going. Our destiny is to become the purest version of ourselves that we can, and everything else will fall into place around us when we come into our trueness. Things that aren't in sync with that will automatically will fall out of our life. It's just like people, just like I was saying about the loneliness. It's like the people that I also feel like there is a part of the spiritual awakening that we have to do by ourselves, that we have to do alone, that you don't want that outside interference. I'm coming back to like Jesus going out into the wilderness for 40 days and for 40 nights. It's kind of the same. It's kind of like it is kind of like that. It's kind of like when you get to certain points, to certain plateaus in this spiritual awakening. It's not just once, but it happens a few times where you just kind of have to come into yourself, and you don't want that outside noise. The outside noise interferes. That you really have to come in, and you become in like this solitude, and realize yourself by yourself, and purify yourself. So as you go along the spiritual awakening, and you realize that your destiny is just to be the purest version of yourself, and to release outside to really come into your pure essence, your pure expression of yourself. And because there's so much noise and so much crap that has been piled on us throughout our childhood, and it has to be that way. That is all perfect. It all happens exactly as it's supposed to. Also with the glitches, you're going up, you get to this place, and you think, oh, you're in this euphoria, and you got there, and then all of a sudden there's a glitch. Those glitches, it's a way of spiraling into the old ways of thinking. Well, first of all, you can think that in your mind there are thought patterns that have been formed for years and years and years. There are neurons physically that are firing together, and your automatic way of thinking, you hit a trigger, and your mind automatically wants to go down that route. But the further that you are along on this spiritual awakening, the higher that you are, the more that you are in this new dimension of heaven on earth, the harder those glitches hit you. It's like the old ways of thinking are so far out of sync with who you are now that it's like painful to go back into those old ways of thinking. Where if a couple of years ago that was your automatic and you were mostly sitting in those low vibrations, now to go back into those low vibrations is painful. But it is, understand that it is an opportunity for growth, because there is a reason that you're going back down into those ways of thinking. There's something unsolved there, or there's something there that needs a little bit more push. So when you fall back down into there and you're like, oh, wait a minute, this is false, I already know this, and then you pull yourself back out of it, you become stronger in your new pattern of thinking, and those old patterns become more obsolete, obsolete, obsolete. It's like old programming that's in your mind that you're overcoming. So really, when you have these glitches, they are part of the spiritual awakening. They have to be there. They are strengthening you in your new way of thinking. So really, don't fight against. Know that that is there for, there's purpose in everything. You can't be ahead of yourself before you get there. You have to kind of go through the entire process to be able to be at be on top of it. And this is a constant, because we do have this attachment within this life. We're attached to this body. We're attached, so we can get to the soul level, but there's like a finding a balance in between this earth level, the 3D level, and the soul level. You have to find the balance in between them to experience this life. So once you're able to find that balance, and you're able to also live this life in the 3D, yeah, and control this level as well. I meet so many people that especially when I go down to the beach, there's people living on the beach that have had these like spiritual awakenings and they're enlightened, but they're living on the beach. So they haven't completely mastered this level. The pure mastery is mastering all the levels, all the way down to the physical level, because this body is sacred. We need to take care of this body. So that means that we also have to master this level. And part of mastering this level nowadays is mastering the matrix. That's just where we were born into. But once you master yourself, and once you come into your true being, and once you are in sync with yourself, all the rest falls into place. You don't have to know how to do it from where you are right now. You don't have to know how to do it. What the most important work is the self work. The most important work is sorting through yourself. The most important work is quieting your mind and even finding who your true essence is under all the crap that's been built there for generations and generations and generations. It didn't start just in your lifetime. It started lifetimes and lifetimes before. Generations of your family and good wishes, and people teaching you what they think to be true, and all of that has to be sifted through and gone through, and your own self-assurance, knowing that you belong here, just as the stone on the mountain belongs here. I'm made up of the stone on the mountain. I am part of this universe. I am unique. I am sacred. I am worthy. I am here for a purpose. There is purpose in everything, and in purpose in me too. I'm as ancient as the stardust. I'm made up of stardust. So when you look at it that way, and think about it this way, you can't be removed from the earth. Your food comes from this place. You are part of this. You are integrated, integral. I don't know if that's the word, but you are a part, an inseparable part of this whole makeup. And when you're done with this lifetime, you're going to go back into, your body's going to go back into the dirt, and you're going to become dirt. And your soul is going to go back, your energy, your life force is going to go back into the energy, back into the wind, back into to other beings. So you are part of this earth. That's how you know that you have the right, and that you're worthy, and that you're able. If you weren't able, you would be given these thoughts. You're only given what you are able to deal with in life, and you've been given this magnificent vessel and magnificent experience to go out and experience. And everything is relevant. Everything is relevant, including us, including time, including this experience. There is a purpose, and together as a combined consciousness, also we have the ability to have an impact on the world, to bring the vibration level of humanity up. We are, especially now in these times, it's a very unique time. So I see this is getting pretty long, so I'm going to go ahead and end this here. I think that I really, I like this video. I like this. Good points came through. So I'm just going to enjoy myself here in the valley for a little while. So thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day.